Detroiters Season 1 finale, Quick Rick Mahorn in Dearborn. Really love this finale. It sucks to see the show end for its first season, but it's been a really good first season. And this is a great ending episode to kind of jump back a little bit and make it like full circle where it goes back to the beginning. But first off, I want to talk, of course, the commercials. They still made them really funny in this. And I love the fact that it was, they were talking about how it was like a lot of Kid Rock and it was the black and white commercials, which you do see. Especially for car commercials, typically they might not be black and white, but it's someone who's famous from Detroit, and they show, they show either, they might show like the Fillmore or one of the theaters or something like that, and they'll show the train station and stuff. And it was really funny because I was like, we do have those commercials. Like all I think of, honestly, which may have been a Chrysler commercial, is the Eminem commercial where he goes to the theater and it's like an opera and they're singing his song, and I was like, that's really funny. That's what it made me think of. But what made me laugh the most, not only was it Kid Rock for all three of the commercials, and it was the same thing. It was like Detroit's working hard and other cities are hardly working. So it was really simple writing. But also, I think it was the first and third commercial, they literally used the same footage of the actual guy. I was like, okay, you can have the same footage of buildings or, from a different angle or something. I get that. It's Detroit, you show like, big monuments in the city. But they literally showed the same clip of the same guy, and it just made me laugh so hard. I was like, wow, that's just insane, because it makes it seem like just random stock footage. But that made me laugh so much. It's like Kid Rock was in all of them. The dialogue was just really simple, and then them reusing footage just made me laugh so much. So I really enjoyed that. We get to see, what is his name? I think his name is Richard Karn, the actual actor from Home Improvement, not Al Borland. We get to see him, which I thought was cool. And I feel like that was a bit of a joke because Tim Allen is actually from the city. So because when they were talking about like Home Improvement and stuff, and I was like, oh, it's going to be Tim Allen because he's from Detroit. And then, Al Borland comes out, and I was like, I feel like that was kind of meant to be the joke for people that know it, at least because Tim Allen is actually from the city, or at least, somewhere in Metro Detroit or whatever. And I was like, that's really funny. I feel like that was the point that they were making there, because it's like a lot of people that might know that would have assumed it was going to end up being Tim Allen because he's from the city. A lot of people probably would have assumed that anyway just because he was the main character. But I was like, oh, it's going to be him because he's from the actual city. And it's like, oh, that's not actually true at all. It's not him. So I thought that was funny. Just the whole awards in general were good. And then, of course, that leads to, it was just crazy. Sam and Tim meeting Carter from the first episode, and him having, like, as they put it, the Luke Skywalker hand, which I thought was funny. And that was a really good prosthetic, too. It was, like, moved, like, the fingers moved and stuff. I was like, that's actually a really good prosthetic for, like, the one scene where it's actually moving. I don't know where they got that from, but I was like, that seems like a really high-end prosthetic just for, like, the one scene. It could have easily just been a hand that doesn't move. But I remember it, like, closed. It looked like the fingers closed. I didn't really, like, rewind it, but, like, it was closing and stuff. And I was like, I feel like that's a really high-end prosthetic for, like, the half a second we actually saw it. But I still thought it was cool. But his life is just tragic. Like, as he says, his father actually did chop his hand off. We don't really get an explanation for that, but he was just like, my dad actually did chop it off. And it was kind of like, they just kind of went past that. And then it was like, the leg thing, the limp was from him getting beat up in martial arts. His wife left him for his physical therapist. And his life would just turn to crap because of Sam and Tim. And it was just like chaotic in the beginning. And the whole episode is them just feeling really crappy. And Rick Mahorn, which I thought it was really funny that they used him in this way. But of course, he's super excited and stuff, and he goes in, because his commercial was absolutely hilarious. Because I'm like, it's very clear, because if you look at the commercial, it's not that he's just saying the lines bad. He's looking straight up, like, if I'm looking up, like, at my viewfinder, that's what it's like. Like, he's looking up, and he's moving across like this, reading the words. And it was making me laugh, because I'm like, I can tell he's just looking up and reading the words. And it just made it funny. They did the classic green screen where he's just running, and that's supposed to be him flying. They did the fast-forwarded footage of him, like, running to France, and I thought that was really silly. But really good commercial. They held super long on the girl leaving in the car. I thought that was really funny. It's just, I don't know, maybe that makes me laugh more because of the production side of things. But I just thought that was super funny, too, because she's like, thanks. And then it's her, like, going out really, really slow, and then she looks again, and then she keeps going really slow, and it just made me laugh, because I was like, that's lasting way too long, but it was really funny. So, loved the commercial, and then, of course, them talking about Rick, and he gets upset about that, and then he goes to random acting lessons and stuff, and apparently all he needed to hear was you love the dog, and then boom, perfect actor, and he's like fake crying and everything. I was like, okay, and then he ends up on a play. So that was really funny, and how they, all that played out by the end of the episode, seeing the play, and he comes out as Mama and stuff like that. It was just really funny. So I loved everything they did with that. The whole element of Quicken Loans and stuff I thought was funny, where they're supposed to pitch to them. And the Bacon Bones thing had me cracking up, where, because they were talking about this mascot thing, and I was like, they better show this thing, because I'm going to lose it if I'm stuck thinking about it. And I thought it was going to be something that they saved for like the end of the episode, but they leave, and then was like, I gotta see this mascot. And when she took it off and she screamed like that, it made me laugh so much, because it wasn't even scary. It was, for one, it was just obviously dumb. It was like they still went with the Bacon Bones thing, which is hilarious. But it wasn't even scary. It was just a drawing of like a skeleton screaming. And she like flipped out, and it just made me laugh so much. It annoyed my girlfriend because I rewound it and she was sleeping and then woke her up. But it made me laugh. I was cracking up. So I love that part. And then of course they're going through the whole thing. And when they get to the play, that's when they're like, we have to tell him that we actually hit him with the car. So of course they skirt around it by the time they get to the end, and they're doing like the fake laughing, and he's like, you guys hit me, because I forgot what they said. It was something like, can you say getting hit by the car was the best thing that ever happened to you, because you found this woman that you used to have a crush on and now you're talking again. And he's like, well, I wouldn't say that. Lost a hand, lost my wife still. Crappy things still happened. He's like, I wouldn't say that. And they're like, could you please? And they're freaking out, and that's how he ends up realizing they're the ones that hit him with the car. And it was just really funny. And of course, for, Comedy Central, ridiculous TV show reasons, their idea is to get hit by a car, let him, hit them. And that was a great scene. And them like flying through the air, and of course they pass out. And he puts potato chip bags over their heads. And that is the end of season 1. So really silly episode, of course. Can't wait for season 2. I'm excited to see what they do next year, but this is definitely a fun first season. I'm excited to really go back through some of the old episodes and just laugh at the commercials and just the silliest moments. But I really love this one, of course. As always, I want to know what made you guys laugh the most in this episode, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Would love to know just your favorite moments in general from this season, whether it's favorite commercials, favorite moments, just period. We'd love to know what you just had the greatest amount of laughs with in this season. What do you guys want to see from season 2? Because there's a lot of things. Recently, this just popped into my head because I was listening to a podcast the other day. But I would love to see them do an episode about Insane Clown Posse, which I don't know how many people really know about that from the city, but I think that would be really funny to watch, because ICP is just weird, and there's so much they could do with that, and I don't know, it would just be a crazy freaking episode. I would love to see that. So that's something they could do that's from the city. When they did Dream Cruise, I would love to see them do another Dream Cruise if they kept doing Dream Cruises or something like that. I can't really think of too much else outside of like just showing random places, so that's not too special. They can just film wherever, and it's like, okay, they did it. Like they actually filmed at Quintalons in this episode. But that's all I can think of is like Juggalos and stuff like that, because that would be really silly to see. They could, if they ever filmed in the fall, they could do, because there's an anime convention in downtown Detroit. I think they could do some amazing, unbelievably hilarious stuff with that, because I go there every year because I'm a huge nerd. But I think they could do some crazy stuff with that if they ever happen to do it. I think they might do it again if they film in the summer. It would probably be the same thing, so they'd miss it. But that would be really funny if they ever decided to do that. But I don't know. Whatever they're going to do is going to be really freaking silly, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. They could certainly do some stuff with Midtown, for sure. Midtown is in all sorts of things you can do with that, and how it's changed over the years, and random businesses where you can buy all sorts of weird stuff, and it's just crazy. It's really funny. I used to live down there, and it's so different from when I used to live down there. They could certainly do something like that. They're actually in Midtown, where the offices are supposed to be at. That's technically Midtown, so they could easily do it, because they're like, they walk up a couple of blocks, you got all the businesses right there. So they could easily do that if they wanted to, where they leave the office and just, walk around Midtown for an episode or something. That would actually work. So I'd love to see that too, but can't wait for more commercials next season. Can't wait for more just random Detroit references that maybe I don't know, 2% of the audience will actually get watching this show. But it's hilarious regardless, whether you get the show or, get the references or not to the city. It's a funny freaking show, and I had a great time with this season. Like I said, would love to know what you guys thought about this finale. Favorite commercials, favorite moments in general, favorite references even. For me, I think it might still be Verner's and the I think it was when Tim had like stomach problems. They gave me some Verner's. I don't know why. I think that's still my favorite one just because I love that. But really want to know what you guys thought about this season and this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.